Okay, this King of Cups really wants to come out. I think this is how we're going to open up our message today. The King of Cups is someone who has a lot of emotional maturity. So, someone who knows how to regulate their emotions, someone who knows how to feel their emotions fully and yet let them pass, someone who prioritizes their emotions, who doesn't sideline them or treat them as something that's insignificant or weak. Um, and, this is knowledge that we have to learn as we go along, right? We're not taught emotional regulation in school. The other card that had come out was the Hierophant, and this can be more traditional knowledge, like knowledge that we learn from an institution or in school. Um, I think we're moving into an era where a lot of the knowledge and the wisdom that we get is going to be coming through our emotions. And that's a really important shift, like moving from the head to the heart. And I think it's one that we're all going through right now. But just to introduce myself first, for those of you guys who are new, hi, welcome. My name's Erin. I'm a writer, tarot reader, intuitive channel witch. And I'm here today to do a tarot read for y'all, just kind of tapping into all of this Scorpio energy that we're in right now. Scorpio is this sign of the underworld. It's the sign of diving deep into those emotions. It can also be about merging with other people and experiencing those emotions with other people. It can be about transformation. It can be about life, death, and rebirth. It's kind of the dark side of life, but it's embracing that dark side. And we're coming up on Samhain, which is the Celtic festival, harvest festival that really celebrates being in touch with that dark side, being in touch with your ancestors who have passed on, being in touch with the spirits that are coming up to the surface now, because you hear them saying that veil is thin, the veil is thinning. I don't know if y'all have been receiving any like messages from your spirit guides or messages from your intuition, messages from your ancestors. I know I certainly have. Just to show you guys too, this card that just came up is the World. And the World is about closing a huge chapter and beginning a new chapter. And I think that's definitely something that we're all feeling right now. The World can also be about all of us coming together on a collective level. At least that's how I'm reading it intuitively right now. I think especially right now with everything going on in the world, it's going to be really important for us to recognize that those traditional structures like government that are intended to support us, at least in the beginning, that's what the intention was, that they've now been corrupted and that they're no longer serving the needs of the people. So when it comes to things like those SNAP benefits in the US, the benefits that support hungry families that are going to be expiring on November 1st because of the corrupt fascist government that we have in place right now, that only want to support billionaires and don't want to support the people who really, really need that assistance. Because this is happening and because we can't rely on the government anymore, we have to come together and support each other. So I would really just recommend you guys, donate to a local food bank if you can, volunteer there. I'd also, I just want to mention too that like Jamaican people right now are really suffering with this hurricane that's making landfall, like as I'm filming this video, and it just everything I've been reading about it sounds like it's going to be absolutely devastating. So if you can donate to charitable relief organizations for our friends in Jamaica, I'm thinking about them. I hope you guys are too. I'll leave a link in my bio to some of those credible organizations that you can donate to help out. Prayers up for them. Here's the star. I think this message is that there is hope. There certainly is hope. And also the star is the card of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the collective, it's the community. It represents coming together and supporting each other, which I think is exactly what we need to do at this time, especially when times are so tough for so many people. I'm feeling like really emotional as I say that. I'm not sure if you guys have been getting this too, but I've been having various clairsentient abilities my whole life, but they've been coming online more and more. And I think also, especially because we're in Scorpio season, because as I mentioned, the veil is thin, I'm starting to feel that more and more. And this emotion that just came up, I'm getting the sense that that's a message from spirit. Like spirit is trying to get through this message through me, and I'm struggling a little bit with it. But we had that King of Cups come out earlier, and that's all about emotion. So I'm just trying to like sit with this emotion, and I'm struggling a bit, but I'm just, the King of Swords came out too, and that's about communication. And I'm like asking spirit to help me try to communicate, like, what is this message? It's something about community. It's something about hope. It's something about feeling our emotions and supporting each other as we walk through this sort of underworld of our deepest, darkest emotions. we can't shy away from them. We have to feel them. We have to talk about them too, and we have to talk about them with other people. We can't just let it sort of like fester in our heads, if that makes sense. Okay, the moon came out. I'm laughing because this has been coming out a lot. I think the moon, sometimes I read it as, spirit has a little secret up its sleeve. It doesn't want us to know exactly what's coming, just because with our monkey brains, we would sort of mess it up by overthinking, and that we have to instead drop into our heart, feel it through our intuition, really embody that emotion and let that emotion lead the way, like we were talking about earlier. The moon is the card of Cancer, and the last time this card came out, I was talking about Jupiter and Cancer and how that's going to be inviting us to do just that, like letting our emotions lead the way, letting our intuition lead the way. How Jupiter is going to be expanding those themes of our inner world and our emotion and our intuition. It is making a little bit of a tense conversation up with Chiron, which Chiron can be about our core wound. And I think that a lot of us are really, walking through that underworld, that Scorpio underworld, with those core emotional wounds right now. Like a lot of those are coming up to the surface, but they're coming up to the surface to be cleared. They're not coming up like just to trigger you, just to cause pain. You know what I mean? There is a reason that they're coming up. I do just, of course, want to acknowledge that they're very obviously hard and difficult to go through. I'm not trying to diminish, what people are going through right now, but I just want to let you know that there is a reason. There is, a light at the end of the tunnel. Like we are moving through the sort of for some of us, it's a very dark night of the soul. For some of us, I think it's more of like an echo or a remnant of a core wound that we're very close to healing, but we just haven't gotten all the way there yet. So we're getting those like last little remnants of that wound sort of triggered. So this time we can really clear that whole thing and let it be done. And by the time, I'm not exactly sure when the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be, but I'm being drawn to the spring equinox. I'm thinking in the spring, a lot of us are going to have worlds and lives and social networks that look very, very different than they do now. Let me go ahead and keep pushing through. I don't know why, guys. This has been like a really difficult message for me to deliver. I'm like kind of struggling, but I keep getting this Ace of Swords that pops up, but not to show you guys. It's like for me, and I think it's Spirit saying like, you need to keep going because you haven't gotten the message yet. Yeah, I mean, I think the Page of Pentacles can be a small offer. It can be a friendship. It can be a coffee date. It can be, a small investment that you're hoping will grow into something much bigger. And I think the message from Spirit is that those like very small investments, or might seem like small investments that we're making now, actually will grow. And they will be, for some of us, they're financial. For some of us, they're new businesses, and they might seem small right now. But, I think as long as we're leaning into that emotion that I was talking about, leaning into what feels good, what feels aligned for us, as long as we're leaning into that, I absolutely think these new ventures are going to be successful and they will grow, even if it does take time, Let's see what else we have. Yeah. This card is all about rest and taking the time that we need to rest. And I think that's an important message, especially as we move up here in the Northern Hemisphere into the winter months. We have less light. I think a lot of us tend to hibernate a little bit. And that's good. I think that's the way nature intended the cycles of the earth and the cycles of our bodies to work, is that as the earth kind of goes to sleep, we kind of do too, but not necessarily in a bad way. Like that sleep can also be a metaphor. It can reference, going into that underworld, like we were talking about, going into those deeper emotions, wading through them, not being afraid to really like explore what's going on inside of us. Because once you do that, when that in that traditional myth, when Persephone comes back from the underworld in the spring, you have all of this knowledge, all of this wisdom, because you've walked that walk, you've walked that path, and now you can take that with you, that transformation with you as you rise up during the next cycle. So I think a lot of us are just sort of going through that right now. Yeah, I mean, again, we have that emotion. That emotion keeps coming up again with the Jupiter in Cancer. I do think that the Jupiter in Cancer, is really an invitation for us to explore those emotions, and also share the emotions with other people. And I always say that because the knights can often, you know, be messengers or sort of be on a mission and offer things to other people. And this knight in this card is doing just that. He's offering, you know, this cup of emotion to someone else. So if you're feeling a certain way, but you're worried you're going to be a burden if you talk to somebody else about it, you know, I would say, you know, don't worry about that. Like, you have friends that are there for a reason. They want to support you, they want to help you. You should feel free to be able to explore those emotions with your friends, you know, with your loved ones, with your partners. That's what they're there for, right? And you know, obviously you want the reciprocity as well. Like, you should be able to do that for them as well when you can. But ultimately, it's sort of about that message again of all of us supporting each other when we're in need. Okay, guys, I'm feeling the message winding down a little bit, but let's pull a few more cards, or maybe just one more card, and see more emotions, more cups. But this is good. This is the Knight of Cups. This is, or sorry, the Nine of Cups. I want to say we're either in a 9-year for my numerology buffs out there, like 9-year, or maybe we're going into a 9-year. I think we're in a 9-year now, and this is the Nine of Cups. So that's all about endings, but endings in a way when you're thinking about things as a cycle, right? Endings are just the necessary thing that happened before the new beginning, and that's the same transformational cycle we've been talking about with the Scorpio energy going into the underworld. And the Nine of Cups can also be about wish fulfillment. So again, it's not a bad thing, that underworld exploration, that transformation, that, you know, heroine's journey with Persephone. It's a good thing to dive deep because that helps you, you know, keep that cycle moving. And eventually, because of that transformation, because of that deep dive, you're going to have your wish fulfillment. And again, I keep being pulled to that spring equinox. I'm not sure if there's like, I haven't looked, you know, that far ahead with the astrology, but I'd be curious to see what's happening then. If any of you astrologers out there know if there's going to be anything interesting happening around the spring equinox 2026, let me know in the comments. Anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Sorry this message was a bit all over the place. But again, if you want a personal reading, feel free to hit me up. You can check out my website. It's whatawitchknows.com. I do 15, 30, and 45-minute tarot readings. I also do some astrology stuff. I can do a full birth chart reading for you, or I can do what's called a stars and cards reading. So it's the current transit in the sky right now in astrology, and then how that's impacting your birth chart. Then I'll pull intuitive tarot on it. Okay, guys, I hope you have a wonderful Scorpio season. I will probably be back for a Samhain message, but until then, take care of yourselves. Bye.